Decades ago, a remote island in the Southern Ocean was quietly slipping into one of the most disturbing ecological disasters in modern history. The cause? Thousands of rats left to roam freely amongst penguins on a small, windswept island. At first, few noticed. The changes were subtle, a missing chick here, a bit of trampled grass there, but what followed was a devastating chain of events that shocked the global scientific community. Macquarie Island, located about 1,500 kilometers southeast of
Wait, so rats
Tasmania,
were just released on a penguin island? Do penguins eat rats? I really don't know.
was once a sanctuary of untouched biodiversity. Just 34 kilometers long, the island seemed unremarkable at a glance. All cliffs and coastline, with nothing but the wild Southern Ocean to keep it company. But beyond the surf and sea spray, Macquarie Island held something rare. An ecosystem that had evolved in near-perfect isolation. Elephant seals launched on its shores, and royal penguins squawked in enormous colonies. Inland, towering megaherbs like the Macquarie Island cabbage stood tall amongst thick tussock grass, forming a lush green paradise untouched by time. The native wildlife had adapted over millennia without ever needing to fear predators. Birds like petrels had evolved to spend their days soaring over open water, returning only at night to nest in the burrows, hidden from view and danger. It was a clever strategy that had served them well, until the first humans arrived. In the early 1800s, seal hunters came ashore.
It's always when the fucking humans arrive, bro. That's what I be saying, bro. Motherfuckers be, bro, you could be the best scientist ever. Bro, just don't fuck the economy up. You could do all the research you want, but when you start fucking shit up, that's what makes shit go bad. When y'all fuck shit up. You know what humans are known for doing? For fucking shit up.
Setting up temporary camps, but they brought with them stowaways, rat and mice. No one realized it then, but these tiny invaders would spark one of the most complex and most destructive environmental stories ever recorded. With no predators to keep them in check and a buffet of bird eggs, chicks, and plants to feast on, the rodents flourished. The petrels were among the first to suffer. Their strategy of nesting underground backfired spectacularly. Rats raided their burrows, devouring eggs, killing chicks, and even attacking adult birds. The mice, meanwhile, turned their attention to insects, eating larvae, beetles, spiders, and moths. And with each bite, they unraveled the delicate threads of an ecosystem that had taken thousands of years to build. The sealers, for their part, began to notice their own supplies being ransacked. Rats and mice were everywhere. Someone had the idea, perhaps intentionally, perhaps not, to introduce cats to the island, hoping that they would control the rodent population. And this was a classic example of a well-meaning solution gone horribly wrong. The cats didn't just hunt rats, of course. On an island where birds had no natural fear of predators, the cats found easy prey. They hunted relentlessly, killing not just for food, but seemingly for sport. An estimated 60,000 seabirds were killed every year, 160 a day. Species like the Macquarie Island rail and the colorful parakeet vanished forever, and more than 10 bird species went extinct, some before scientists could even study them. And the rats? They kept multiplying. Then came another mistake. In 1878, rabbits were released on the island. The idea was to provide shipwrecked sailors with potential food source, but on a predator-free island full of lush vegetation, the rabbits exploded in number. By 1960,
the rabbits just eating all the vegetation. Y'all see how this is just everything that they're trying to do is literally going the opposite way. You get what I'm saying? They bought what, cats there to eat the rodents. Then the cats fucking around and eat the birds that they didn't even explore yet, that they didn't even find out about yet. And then they release rabbits. Now the rabbits eat all the vegetation, and then they keep multiplying, and then nothing eats the rabbits, so they keep multiplying, and they keep eating the grass, and now that's taking away food from the other fucking. You get what I'm saying, bro? It's crazy.
There were over 100,000 rabbits, and they didn't just nibble plants, they consumed entire hillsides, roots and all. The soil, now bare and destabilized, began to collapse. In 2006, the consequences came crashing down. Literally. A massive landslide in Lusitania Bay, triggered by years of vegetation loss, buried a vital king penguin colony. Hundreds of birds were lost. It was a moment that made headlines and marked the point of no return. Scientists visiting Macquarie Island in those years described it as a wasteland. The once vibrant landscape looked like a battlefield. The rabbits had eaten 40% of all vegetation, and without plants, soil erosion accelerated. Petrel burrows collapsed, penguins lost nesting cover, albatross chicks perched dangerously on exposed cliffs, and predators like skuas now had an open buffet. By the mid-2000s, the situation was dire. Rats were estimated at 36,000, mice topped 100,000, and rabbits over 300,000. Some of the island's rarest plants only survived inside fenced plots. 2 orchid species found nowhere else on Earth needed constant protection to avoid
I want to know whose plan was it to bring the rabbits up? I don't get what was their cause of bringing rabbits up? I don't understand that, y'all. To me, bringing rabbits out is literally like something you would do if you don't want vegetation. And that's never the case. So why would we bring rabbits to a place where we've been working on this for so long? You get what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
Extinction. It was more than just a crisis. It was a textbook case of what scientists call a trophic cascade, a domino effect in which disruption of one level of the food web causes massive, unpredictable consequences on every other level. And the initial solution, introducing cats to kill rats, had backfired even further. Later, removing the cats caused the rabbit population to explode, and every step forward brought another unexpected collapse. By 2007, the island was considered an ecological basket case. The Australian and Tasmanian governments decided to act, and the only hope was full eradication. Every rat, every rabbit, every mouse had to go, and the plan would cost over $24 million and take nearly a decade. It would become the most ambitious pest eradication project in history. The effort began with a biological assault, introducing a lethal rabbit virus, calicivirus, via infected carrots. And it worked. Rabbit numbers crashed almost overnight. Next came helicopters dropping over 300 tons of bright green poison pellets across the island. Timing was critical, and they had to act in winter when most seabirds were off the land to avoid collateral damage. Thousands of poisoned animals' carcasses were later collected by hand to protect scavengers. But unfortunately, poison wasn't enough. Even one surviving rabbit or rat could restart the disaster, so they brought in elite reinforcements. 12 specially trained dogs, including spaniels, terriers, and labradors. These weren't ordinary pets. They were conservation specialists, able to sniff out a single rat dropping from 100 meters away. The dogs and their handlers endured brutal conditions: icy rain, mud, cliffs, and endless miles of grass. And one Labrador, Wags, working with her handler Melissa Houghton, became a hero. In late 2011, Wags found the last surviving family of rabbits, a female and her kits, hidden deep in the remote corner of the island. It was proof that strategy worked, and a chilling reminder of how close they were to failure. For 2 more years, the team scoured every inch of Macquarie Island. In 2013, with no sign of pests, 3 more detection dogs were added for good measure. Finally, on April 8, 2014, the island was officially declared pest-free for the first time in more than 200 years. But the story didn't end there. The question now was, could nature...
That's terrible, y'all. That's terrible. But that just goes to show, I'm not even gonna lie, that goes to show how much fucking rats and just pests in general, how big of a part they play in the fucking ecosystem. You get what I'm saying? Like, they really could fuck an ecosystem up. They really could. Or they really, I never seen them make an ecosystem thrive, but they can really fuck an ecosystem up. No cap.
Nature heal itself. At first, expectations were low. Scientists warned that it could take 30 to 50 years for any real recovery. But Macquarie Island surprised them all. The first signs of life came from the soil. Plants that had survived only inside fenced posts began sprouting across the landscape, and seeds long buried suddenly germinated. Melissa Houghton, who had led the dog team, chose to stay on the island as a researcher, and what she saw was breathtaking. Tussock grass began growing taller than a person, and the megaherbs returned. Areas that had been barren wastelands were now green and lush, and the animals came back too. Petrels began nesting again. White-headed petrel numbers soared. Gray and blue petrels, which had vanished entirely from the main island, returned. And as the birds returned, so did the ecosystem. Their guano enriched the soil, helping plants grow. And the plants provided shelter, attracting even more birds. The island entered a cycle of regeneration. One of the most astonishing turnarounds was the comeback of rare plants. The endangered orchids, once fenced off, now appeared across the island. Hubertia australiana, a rare herb with just a handful of surviving specimens, began spreading into new areas. Today, scientists estimate that Macquarie Island is home to more native wildlife than at any point in the last 150 years, and some bird populations are growing at rates of 10% per year, which is nearly unheard of in conservation. Satellite images show vast areas of green where once there was only barren earth. But the lesson hasn't been forgotten. Macquarie Island is now under strict biosecurity. Every visitor, every crate, every backpack is checked, and dogs sniff cargo. Equipment is scrubbed. Every jacket pocket is vacuumed, because scientists know what's at stake. Another invasion, even a single rodent, could restart the disaster. Macquarie Island...
Going to that island, bro. They doing all that extra shit, bro. I don't got time for that, bro. I'm trying to imagine getting off a long ass flight to Australia. You trying to catch you a nap. They in this motherfucker vacuum in your pocket. Come on, bro.
The story is a warning, a cautionary tale about how even small actions can unleash massive ecological consequences. But it is also a story of resilience, of how a place can come back from the edge with science, determination, and time. In a world increasingly shaped by human interference, Macquarie Island stands as proof that while we can cause immense damage, we can also help undo it. Recovery is not always quick or easy, but it is possible. One island, one mistake, and a lesson for the planet. Share this story, because sometimes the most powerful change begins with remembering what went wrong and fighting to make it right. Now, if...
Yeah.